Afternoon. Um, I thought I'd come live to talk about the signs and symptoms of suicide. Now, we all know how sensitive and personal suicide could be for someone, whether you've experienced suicide thoughts or attempts in your life, or you have potentially lost someone to suicide. Now, if you have, apologies for your loss. I really am. Heart goes out to you. But I thought I'd do a stream to talk about it, and also self-care when it comes to actually trying to get your head around it. I know it's easier said than done when it comes to self-care, when it comes to something as big as this. But there is a will out there, and there is a way. Now, not many people know what suicide actually is. Obviously, we know somebody trying to take that pain away. And obviously I'm going to talk about the impact of this and what it is and what to look out for when somebody is having those thoughts. Now, also I've got some papers here to read from. I've done some research into it. And before I actually get there, if anyone needs any sessions or anyone to talk to, please reach out. Please reach out. That you've got the Samaritans, you've got Mind, you've got young persons. You've also got me, and my website is www.mentalhealthwarrior.co.uk, where you can actually see my story on that website of where I've came from and what I've done to transform my life. Now, back to this, I'm just going to state that suicide, it's not a mental illness in itself, no. But it's a serious potential consequence of treatable mental disorders, which include the following: major depression, bipolar, post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, borderline personality disorder, also known as BPD, schizophrenia, substance use, anxiety disorders, eating disorders. Now, there's two types of eating disorders. There's bulimia and there's anorexia nervosa. Obviously, I will be doing a video on eating disorders at some point. The signs to look out for when it comes to, and these are the warning signs you should look out for when somebody wants to potentially end their life: excessive sadness or moodiness. So, for example, long-lasting sadness, and that could be up to like 3 months. Mood swings where 1 minute they're happy, then 1 minute they're sad, then they're really lashing out. And unexpected rage, like I've just said. Hopelessness. Feeling a deep sense of hopelessness about the future with little expectation that circumstances can improve. Sleep problems such as insomnia. Sudden calmness. Suddenly becoming calm after a period of depression or moodiness can be a sign that the person has made a decision to end their life. Withdrawal. Choosing to be alone and avoiding friends or social activities also are possible symptoms of depression. A leading cause of suicide. This includes the loss of interest or pleasure in activities the person previously enjoyed. Changes in personality and or appearance. So a person who is considering suicide might exhibit a change in attitude or behavior, such as speaking or moving with unusual speed or slowness. In addition, the person might suddenly become less concerned about their personal appearance, so neglecting themselves. Dangerous or self-harmed behaviour. So this could be a potentially dangerous behaviour such as reckless driving, engaging in unsafe sex, and increased use of drugs and or alcohol might indicate that the person no longer values their life. Now, obviously, we do have a comment. Hi, Kate. Hope you're welcome. Also, there is another one. Recent trauma or life crisis. This is a major life crisis, might trigger a suicide attempt. Crises include the death of a loved one or pet, a divorce, a breakup of a relationship, diagnosis of a major illness, loss of a job, or serious financial problems. Making preparations. Often, a person considering suicide will begin to put their personal business in order. This might include visiting friends and family members, giving away personal possessions, making a will, and cleaning up their room or home. Some people will write a note before committing suicide. Some will buy firearm or other means like poison. Threatening or talking about suicide. Now, there is from 50% to 75% of those considering suicide will give someone, for example, a friend or a relative, a warning sign. However, not everyone who is considering suicide will say so. And not everyone who threatens suicide will follow through it. Every threat of suicide should be taken seriously. Definitely. Now, you need to really think about, with these signs, it's the quiet ones you need to look out for. The quiet ones who'd say nothing. Now, who is likely to commit suicide? Suicide rates are highest in teenagers, young adults, and the elderly. White men over the age of 65 have the highest rate of suicide, Suicide risk also is the higher in the following groups: older people who have lost a spouse through death or divorce, people who have attempted suicide in the past, people with a family history of suicide, people with a friend or co-worker who has committed suicide, people with a history of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, people who are unmarried, unskilled, or unemployed, people with a long-term pain or a disability or a terminal illness, people who are prone to violent or impulsive behaviour, people who have recently been released from a psychiatric hospitalisation. This is often a very frightening period of transition back into the general population, basically the public. People in certain professions, such as police officers and healthcare providers who work with terminally ill patients. People with substance abuse problems, they're at high risk of wanting to commit suicide. Although women are 3 times as likely to attempt suicide, men are far more likely to complete the act. Now it goes on to, you're going to question, can suicide actually be prevented? No, can't. Suicide cannot be prevented with certainty, but risks can often be reduced with timely intervention. Research suggests that the best way to prevent suicide is to know the risk factors. Be alert of the signs of depression and other mental disorders. And you've got to recognize the warning signs for suicide and intervene before the person can complete the process of self-destruction. What should I do if I think someone is suicidal? And these are the questions you're going to ask that person who wants to potentially end their life. People who receive support from caring friends and family and who have access to mental health services are less likely to act on their suicide impulses than are those who are socially isolated. If someone you know is exhibiting warning signs for suicide, you must. And these are the things you should do. Don't be afraid to ask if they are depressed or thinking about suicide. Be very direct. Ask if they are seeing a therapist or taking medication. Instead of trying to talk the person out of suicide, know that depression is temporary and treatable. In some cases, the person just needs to know that someone cares and is looking for the chance to talk about their feelings. And you can also encourage the person to seek professional help. These are the things you should never do when you see the warnings, signs of suicide. You should never leave the person alone. Never. Whether it's your friend, your family member, or even someone you do not like. If you see that person depressed or wanting to end their life, sit with them. Forget the egos, forget the opinions, because my opinion, I wouldn't wish suicide on my worst enemy. I will not. possible, ask for help from friends or other family members. Ask the person to give you any weapons they might have. Take away or remove sharp objects from anything else that the person could use to hurt themselves. Remove it from the area. The person is already in psychiatric treatment. Help them to contact the doctor or therapist for guidance and help. Try to keep the person as calm as possible. And call 911 or take the person to an emergency room. You can also call Samaritans, Mind. Yeah. These are just the things you could actually do. Now, with all of this going on, what are we going to do to change this? Now, self-care. You could call Papyrus, and there is actually a phone number and a text message mobile number, even an email, which I will put in the comments. But if you want the number now, I can give it you. Papyrus is 0800 068 4141. Samaritans 116 123. Calm, and that's campaigning against living miserably. You can contact them on 0800 58 58 58. Childline. So if you see a potential child wanting to, well, even depressed or wanting to end their life, you can contact them on 0800 1111. The mix 0808 80 84 994. And also you can contact Young Minds on 0808 802 5544. Now, that's just about suicide, and they're the self-care. Or even reach out to a therapist online, like myself. You can find me on Facebook at Adam Shelton. You can also email me at mhwarrior. So that's M for mom, H for hat, warrior. So that's W for witch, A for Adam, R for rabbit, I for indigo, O for orange, R for rabbit, at gmail.com. And you can even go on my website at www.mentalhealthwarrior.co.uk, and you'll be able to find me or somebody from my team on there as also. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to shut this off. Please reach out. Don't do what I did and kept all the pain inside, because I did that for 21 years, where it tipped me over the edge. And the best thing I did was talk to someone. There's always people out there who are waiting to listen. Let's help you. And let's stop this stigma together. Now, on that note, I'm going to end this. I will share this across all platforms, and I will see you all later. Thanks for tuning in.